Seema and I'm back with a new lesson on expressions using the word heart. Well, heart is a very common word that we use almost every day, but a lot of us probably are not very aware of the expressions using this word. Let's have a look at some interesting ones. The first one is to your heart's content. Well, what does this expression mean? This expression talks about doing something until you are satisfied. So, someone who likes to read, you can give them a book and say, go on, read to your heart's content. Or someone who loves to eat, you can tell them, go on, eat to your heart's content. So, doing something to your heart's content is nothing but doing something until you are completely satisfied. Alright, so that's what to your heart's content is all about. The next expression is to have your heart in your mouth. Now, that's kind of funny, isn't it? Because your heart, comes down from here and comes up to your mouth. Does that really happen? Well, not literally, but when we talk about having your heart in your mouth, we're talking about a state of being very scared, very panicked, and maybe full of fear. So I can say something like spiders, worms, heights, they really get my heart in my mouth. Or I can say that I had my heart in my mouth when the biker braked just inches away from me. So it is talking about being really scared or being really anxious and full of fear. Our next expression is called cross your heart. Now, this is an expression we use when we are trying to establish the truth of what we say. So I can say that I'm trying to prove the truth of my words. So the other day, my niece, she kind of was in the kitchen and the cookie jar was kind of empty. So when her mother caught her, she said, cross my heart, I did not eat the cookie. So when I say I cross my heart, I always try to establish or try to prove the truth of my words. Alright, so that's when you're trying to prove yourself and saying to someone else that you are actually telling the truth. And the next expression is by heart. Well, by heart is nothing but to know something by memory. A lot of us, we learn things by memory. We read a passage, a poem, and we know it by heart. In other words, I can say that I learned my lines by heart. In other words, I am saying I learned my line by memory. I can memorize every word and therefore I know it by heart. Well, let's look at another 4 interesting expressions using the word heart. Our next expression is to wear your heart on your sleeve. Alright, well, what does this really mean? How can you wear your heart on your sleeve? What does that indicate? It talks about keeping or making your intimate feelings easily known to people. Now, this normally happens to people who are very emotional. So, emotional people tend to show their feelings to others very, very quickly. So an emotional person cries very easily, tends to feel sorry for people very easily, and when they're happy, they're really happy. You just know them by their face. So such people, they wear their hearts on their sleeves, which means that they tend to make known or keep their intimate feelings, at hand. Like you can see them for what they really are. All right. So such people are more emotionally vulnerable. All right. So that's what wearing your heart on your sleeve is all about. Our next expression talks about to have the heart. Well, what does it mean to have the heart? It talks about to have the will, which means that you are determined. In some contexts, it could also mean to have the courage. So if I say that you must have the heart to do well in life. So it basically means that you must have the will or be determined to do really well in life and, really come up there. It could also mean to have the courage. So I can say that I had the heart to beat this disease, or I had the heart to do very well for my exams this semester. So to have the heart could mean two things. One could talk about to have the will, being determined, or to have the courage. Our next expression is to lose heart. To lose heart, as the expression already kind of gives away, talks about being discouraged, or being disappointed, or being really sad and down. So some people, they lose their heart when they don't make it in the first go. So maybe you've kind of applied for a job, you've been turned down, so you lose heart. So when a friend of yours is feeling a little discouraged or sad, you can tell him that, look, don't lose heart, things are going to be fine. So losing heart is being discouraged, sad, a little disappointed. And the last expression is quite apparent. It's very simple. It talks about being heartbroken, which again talks about being very sad, full of grief, and when you are very hurt. So you can say that when your relationship came to an end, you were heartbroken. You were heartbroken by the way your friend spoke to you. So heartbroken is nothing but being very hurt, very sad, and being full of grief because you're really hurt. So that's it from me on this lesson about the expressions on using the word heart. I hope you found it very interesting. Well, I'll be back with some more lessons. Until then, this is me saying goodbye.